Tony Clifton, everybody.
Tony Clifton.
It's Irish, right? Hey, what's the difference between an Irish wedding and an Irish funeral?
What?
One less drunk.
You are listening to Proudly Resents, the cult movie podcast.
All right, this is Proudly Resents, proudlyresents.com. Two women are kissing. It's hard. It's hard to concentrate. We're backstage at the Tony Clifton show. Anything can happen. It's 2 a.m.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. All right.
You pull that titty down. Pull that down.
No, Dad, I don't wear pasties anymore.
No, you know? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, well, anyway.
All right, well, here with Tony Clifton, ladies from the Tony Clifton show every Friday night at
The Cliftonettes.
And the Cliftonettes. Hello, Cliftonettes. Hello, Bogey, Annie.
Hello. Penny. Hello. Hi, I'm Poke Salad
Penny
Annie.
Jones and Poke Salad Annie.
Penny
Two of the
Jones.
hottest girls in my show.
Yes.
Hot on stage.
Tony, you got your own mic right there. That's all for you.
Okay, thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
So who you guys again? Explain this to me.
So Proudly Resents, we talk about cult films and films we love. And it's a film that you were in, kind of. Of course, there's Man on the Moon about
Man
Andy
on the
Kaufman.
Moon. Yes.
But you did a concert here at...
Yes, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was the night that Andy Kaufman was supposed to come back.
Yes, that's true. May 16th.
And what happened? Did he come back?
He did not come back.
Did I get my money? I tried to get my money back.
Well, listen, I didn't think he was going to come back. I think he's dead.
You do think he's
Oh,
dead?
yeah. And when people ask me sometimes, because, you know, girls, sometimes we're on stage and somebody will yell out, Andy Kaufman. And you know what I say? I say, you want Andy Kaufman? Guess what I say?
Go ahead.
Get yourself a shovel and a flashlight. I think he's dead, okay? But a lot of the crazy rumors persist because he did talk about faking his death. Now, and of course, the way Man on the Moon ends, we're not sure. We're not
You're
sure.
at the end.
I'm at the end singing on stage right here at the Comedy Store. I'm singing I Will Survive.
Right.
But they hired, I Will Survive. They hired me to do that, right? And then they shot, the camera went around and showed Paul Giamatti in the audience, and we weren't sure what the hell was going to. So this adds to the mythology, but this is true only because Andy Kaufman. Could you tell him to quiet down out there?
Okay.
Yeah, say we're recording. Say just hold it down.
She's too nice.
We're recording. Just hold it down.
We're recording.
Okay.
Shut up, please.
So anyway, there was a lot of controversy because, you know, he did a script at Universal called The Tony Clifton Story about me.
And that was going to star you.
Yes, it was going to star me. And what happened is that, and this was 4 years before his death. Mm-hmm. And he showed up to the writing session. We had a bungalow back at Universal in the back there. And one day he showed up. And he said, you got to put this in this page in the script. I said, what the fuck? And I read this. And it said, here's why he might be alive. And it said, Tony Clifton, because he was playing me in the movie. He says, Tony Clifton dies of cancer at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. This is on page 121 of the Tony Clifton story that you could get online.
The script for
the script.
Clifton
This is
online.
the Tony Clifton story. This was 4 years before. Here's the punch: before Andy Kaufman himself would die of cancer at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. Now, what are the odds of that? How would he know this? And of course, we get into this in Man on the Moon. Did he fake his death or not? I personally believe he's dead. Now, if you talk to Lynn Margulies, you know who Lynn is. Lynn was his girlfriend who, in the movie, Courtney Love portrays. She'll tell you that Andy Kaufman said, and when she said, because Andy came up with this idea of faking his death. And I think it's just weird timing. So a year before he dies, he's running all around town to a few people saying that he came up with the greatest prank of all time. He's going to fake his death. He came up to me and said, what do you think? I said, let me tell you this. I cannot be involved.
Why is that?
Because I said, first of all, it's illegal to fake your death. And he was, Andy was so naive. He's like a child man. He says, what the hell do you mean by that? I said, Andy, people fake their death every day for insurance reasons. It's called fraud. They don't want to pay child support or what fucking ever. It's illegal. you can go to jail, and if somebody helps you, it's a crime. He said, oh, I didn't know that, because he was very naive. I said, but fuck all that. Besides that, do you think because I knew his parents, do you think I'm going to lie to your mother and father? They're going to be heart fucking broken? And his mom died about a year, had a stroke, major stroke, a year after his supposed death. It killed her. I said, I'm not going to do it now. But Andy was so fucking weird. If anybody could pull this off, he can. Now, if you talk to either Tom Mount or Sean Daniels or Bruce Berman, who were executives at Universal Studios at the time when we were doing the Tony Clifton story, and he died, they have the script. So to this day, they remembered that he came into that fucking office and he put in there that he was going to die at Cedars-Sinai on cancer. To this day, they believe he has faked his death. Now, John Moffat from the TV show Fridays, which was like kind of a ripoff of Saturday Night Live. Fridays, ABC had a version. Okay. He went, because I told him, listen, it's a great idea. I'm not going to be a part of it. You shouldn't tell anybody. If you're going to do this, this is the ultimate prank. You cannot tell anyone. He says, I'll never bring it up to you again. Okay. This is around the time when he puts this in the script. 2 years after that, you could contact John Moffat from the TV show Fridays, who was the producer. And he told me years later, after Andy's supposed death, he came up to me and said, I got to tell you something. I don't know if you know this, that he came to see me, Andy came to see me, and he had a Bible. He says, John, can I talk to you? And he went into a room. He says, John, I'm going to tell you about the greatest prank of all time, but I want you to put your hand on this Bible and swear that you won't tell anyone. He says, what? Then he told me, he says, I'm going to fake my fucking death. It's going to be the biggest fucking thing ever. John Moffat from Moffat Lead Productions. You could call John up. John will tell you he says, Andy Kaufman faked his death. He told me he was going to do it. And 6 months after he told me, he was dead. Here's a guy who never drank. Vegetarian, healthiest motherfucker in the world. The movie gets into this. I think it was just weird timing. I'm just giving you some of this other perspective of it. Okay? The 30th anniversary is coming up in a year and a half. Girls, we're doing a big fucking thing.
Oh, yeah.
A huge fucking thing. There's a huge art museum in New York that's planning on doing a huge retrospective of his work.
Oh, wow.
We have the film is going to come out there, and then Universal Studios is releasing Man on the Moon again. Jim Carrey's going, it's a big fucking thing about a year and a half from now, because that 2014 will mark the 30th anniversary of Kaufman's death. I'll tell you this, and we'll be all working together. You do not want to miss May 16th, 2014. Go see me wherever it's going to be a big do. We're talking about a special TV special and everything else. This is like Al Capone's tomb. It's going to be that fucking big. And this will be it.
Geraldo?
Yeah. Oh, that's my Patty talking. Weren't they great in the show?
They were great.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
So anyway, so some very exciting things. But go on. That's enough about that.
If he's still alive, then where is Andy Kaufman been hiding?
I have no fucking clue. He never contacted me. I would imagine it's some third world country. He'd be under the fucking radar. He was very big into meditation and Asian philosophy, so I would imagine be someplace. Probably someplace in Asia or not. Now, you got to realize the guy would look very fucking different now.
Right.
You know, probably be bald because he was losing his hair anyway. You probably wouldn't even recognize him. Might be a monk. He was very big in the TM movement, Transcendental Meditation. He about had it up to here with fucking Hollywood. He was very much into metaphysicals, life and spirituality. So I'm sure he went away. And, you know, if he decides, and listen, if he doesn't show up on the 30th anniversary, he might just go fake call it. Fuck it.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
out.
like, what's so funny? It's
What?
like this is the 35th anniversary for Elvis, too.
When, today?
Yeah, this is like Elvis's.
Is it 35 years?
Yeah.
Well, Andy, this is interesting. Because Andy originally got the idea, because, you know, he did Elvis Presley.
He was like the
impression.
first one to do it.
He was the first one.
First
People know
one.
when Andy Kaufman was doing the Elvis impression, this is years before anybody started the Elvis impression. In 1969, 1971, nobody gave a shit about Elvis Presley. The Beatles, everything. They didn't care. It wasn't until years later it became this nostalgic thing and then it became a thing. Then you got all these Elvis impersonators. Kaufman was the first impersonator of Elvis Presley. Now, let me tell you this. This is really fucking weird. And you know this story, Annie. In 1969, Andy Kaufman, who was unknown, he was this fucking 19-year-old pimply-faced Jewish kid. He hitchhiked from Great Neck, New Jersey to see his role model, to talk to his role model, Elvis Presley. I said talk, because Elvis was appearing at the Hilton. The colonel was the manager, had a bad debt. So Elvis, when 1969 appeared at the Hilton. This is when Elvis came back. Elvis appeared a few years before that. He died. But this was his big return. It was triumphant. Elvis first went. He didn't know how to put a Vegas show together. He talked to the guys like Wayne Newton. He talked to Engelbert Humperdinck. And they said, you got to do Flash. And that's when he started with the outfits like Liberace and stuff. Elvis didn't do any of that shit before that. He wanted Flash. That's what him with the capes and everything. This all happened. Bill Ballou was the guy. Andy and I hired him for the a comedy salute. For Uncle Andy's Funhouse for ABC.
Yeah.
We hired Bill Ballou, who's the guy, because we had a budget. He's the guy who actually designed the Elvis outfits. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he was the guy. And we talked to him. And there was other people who did it. This is a side note. Let me go back to my story here. And Bill Ballou, we hired. The day is long, this guy, But I said to him, and we knew, because Andy knew all the history. We said, how the hell? Because Elvis had many people design outfits for him, but Bill Ballou did it for 8-9 years. We said, how did you last so long? He said, well, I learned the secret. He said, Elvis kept putting on the weight. And the costume guy would come and said, Elvis, I got to remeasure you. You're getting a little fat. And Elvis was in total denial. With the drugs, he was in total fucking denial. So Bill said what he would do, he would come in after the show and take the outfit and expand it. Never say anything to Elvis. And put it back. He said, I worked for 8 years. He said, Elvis, you're losing weight, Yeah. And that's how he kept his job.
Oh, for sure.
Because, shoot the messenger.
Right.
So true story.
Yeah.
So anyway, little Andy Kaufman at 19 years old, he goes and he hitchhikes to Vegas to see the King. He has no money even to buy a ticket to see. He doesn't want to see the show. He wants to talk to Elvis Presley himself. So what he does, this was at the Hilton Hotel, and the show was that night. And see, back then in Vegas, there was dinner on the show. They don't do this shit anymore. Yeah. If you look at the old show stuff, Sinatra, Rat Pack, people were sitting there having dinner. So the theater, the venue, was always built right next to the kitchen, so they could get the food out real quick, right? And that's how they don't do it anymore for some reason. Elvis would always come down from the penthouse where they kept him in the service elevator. And he always walked through the bowels of the kitchen to the stage. He didn't hang on, never used he's like Frank Sinatra, never used the dressing room backstage. They just came straight down, boom, and left real quick. Elvis has left the building. He always did that to get to beat the traffic and everything else. Frank did the same thing. It's an old trick. So anyway, Elvis is sitting there. So Andy Kaufman, who's out of his mind, totally unknown, this snot-nosed little Jew boy, he goes into about 3 p.m. He sneaks in the service door where they're bringing trucks, food. And he says he grabbed, when the truck came in, and he grabbed a slab of meat or something, and he walked into the kitchen and put it down. Then he got into the fucking place. And he hid, he told me, in a broom closet off of the fucking main way that he knows Elvis was going to go down. He brought with him a bag of cookies, because this is going to be 7 or 8 hours, and an empty plastic gallon for him to piss in. True. And he waited. He waited for hours. And then right before, about 15 minutes before the show, just like clockwork, Elvis came down from the penthouse in the service elevator, walked down that corridor. He was with the West brothers, Sonny and Red West. You know Red. These were his. They're called the Memphis Mafia. They were his bodyguards. They were they were high school chums of his, and they were with him. And they walked by this little closet that Andy was in, a broom closet, with his piss bottle. And when they walked by, Kaufman stepped out. Kaufman said to me, it was like, Sirhan. And Elvis stopped, and right away the West brothers, who are always packing, they went for the guns, but Elvis went, whoa, 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 because he could see this is some snot-nosed little fucking Jewish kid. No threat. But he stopped. And here is the greatest moment in showbiz history, I think. Elvis did not dismiss this kid. And even though the clock was done, that's how great the king was. And Elvis looked, and Andy looked at Elvis, and he couldn't even put words together. He says, Mr. Presley, I'm your biggest fan. And someday he actually said this, someday I want to be famous like you. Here is the moment that would change. We wouldn't be here tonight. You wouldn't be talking to me if this did not happen because of Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley took his hand. He put it on Andy Kaufman's shoulder. He looked him straight in the eye and he said, I'll believe it will happen. And Andy said he felt a jolt. Then right then, Elvis just left. That was it. Now, this is weird. Andy, who had not performed before anything, had any idea anything about an act, a year and a half after that incident, Andy Kaufman becomes the hottest cabaret act in New York City. And he says it's the confidence that it was the benediction.
He was blessed.
He was blessed. Couldn't fuck it up. True story.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
It gives me chills when I hear it.
I love that story.
How did you guys first meet, you and Andy?
I was that same night. I was performing in downtown Vegas, the Fremont Street area. Kind of the, no, it's nice at all. Kind of the underbelly. And he came in. Now, I did not see him. But he tells people he came in and he saw me. And then about a year and a half, then when he finally had the chance to play Carnegie Hall, people were coming up to me in Las Vegas. Bugsy Monroe. Bugsy Monroe was kind of a street character, sold watches. Bugsy would pull his sleeve up, had about 8, 9 watches sold here. Bugsy comes up to me one day, he says, hey, congratulations, Tony. I hear you're playing Carnegie Hall. What the fuck, you ain't playing Carnegie Hall. And I thought Bugsy, because Bugsy used to drink like a motherfucker. And then over the next couple of days, I'm getting calls, people saying, hey, congratulations. I went, what the? They said, go get the New York Times. I get the New York Times, the Sunday edition, and there's an ad for Andy Kaufman at Carnegie Hall. Opening act, Tony Clifton, there's a picture of me. But I look closer, it ain't me. It's Andy Kaufman in makeup playing me. So he came in, he saw me, okay? And he decided a couple of years later, when he had this, that he's going to play this character on contacting me. So then I got on the phone. I'm going, what is bullshit, man? They're using my name, my likeness. So I I get a lawyer, and I contact, his lawyer. Mm-hmm. I had a Jew calling a Jew lawyer. And then Andy felt, he wasn't trying to rip me off. He was just like, the highest form of flattery is impression, whatever that thing they say. Are you leaving, baby?
Yeah.
Okay, I see you. I love you. Everything's cool. Thank you, baby. Jesse, that's Jesse, my background singer. Tonight, we're going to work on that, our new number. And so then he said he felt bad. He said, I was just doing an impression of you. So to work things out, to mend fences, he hired me. So then I started performing. But by now, he had played this ruse on the American public that he was me. Mm-hmm. So now George Shapiro, his manager, who Danny DeVito plays in the movie Man on the Moon, would book on David Letterman or Dinah Shore or Miss Piggy, and they thought it was Andy Kaufman me, but in fact it was really me.
How did it make you feel?
You guys got to go, so you
Whoa,
okay?
whoa, whoa.
Whoa.
Andy, did you hear
About this one? Tell me, are you locked in the punch? Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby.
Are we having fun?
So we sing that every night. We sing a tribute to Andy Kaufman.
Every night.
Or else we wouldn't be here.
Every night. Yeah. I love it.
Go on, my friend. Any other questions?
Well, yeah, when you did the show here a couple years ago, you had a get out of my way. You're in the microphone.
It's Andy who's trying to grab the mic.
What when Andy Kaufman was dying and everyone thought he was joking,
yes.
Did you at any point think he was joking? And did you?
Yes. Listen, let me go on record right now. The 30th anniversary has come up. Listen, I believe Andy Kaufman's dead, but okay, if he walked in, if he showed up, I would be surprised, but I would not be shocked. Only because, like I told you, he had told people he was planning on faking his death.
Was there an uncomfortable moment where you were like, "Oh, Andy, you're not really dying"? Was there a face-to-face moment?
Well, you never knew with him. And the thing was, if he was playing a fucking number on somebody, you went along with it. Okay? You never fucking really knew. I never saw the body. Okay? I never saw a body. A good friend of mine, listen, this got so crazy because, usually for Jewish funerals, they don't have an open casket.
Yeah.
And this was, no, the Jews don't do that. Right? Yeah, no, that's a Christian thing, right? You know this, right? You Jewish?
Yeah, Jewish.
Yeah, they don't do it.
No.
They did it in Kaufman's case in Great Neck at the funeral home because there was so much controversy about it and they were sick of it. So that morning they had an open casket. Uh-huh. I did not go in. Lynn Margulies, now Joe Triani, a good friend of mine, he went in. And Joe was in the room and he was poking the body. And to this day, he says, I think it was wax. I think it was wax. Uh-oh. Yeah, but then you wouldn't know. How do you know from a wax fig?
When's the last time you poked a dead body? Because I poked my grandma, she felt like a wax museum.
That same thing. So who the fuck knows?
Why were you poking your grandma?
Well, she had an open casket.
Hey, why are you using my name when we're not poking me? You should poke me. If you're going to say that word.
I'll poke you right now, baby.
I don't need to poke.
Okay, I'll poke you tonight.
You can like me on Facebook and poke me in real life.
What else, my friend?
Well, you had shown a movie that no one could see a couple years ago when you did the concert here at the Comedy Store.
The German thing?
With the other one, the Jim Carrey movie.
Oh yeah, you were at that?
Yeah.
The House of Blues? Yeah.
The House of Blues, no wonder it looked different.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what the movie is and why you can't show it.
No, that was a documentary that we made with Jim Carrey's approval of the making of Man on the Moon. Because Jim stayed in character. Jim approached the role like Andy Kaufman would approach the role.
I will